See Sheldon and Clark at the top of your screen. Whoa, 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 what do we got going on here?
Oh, there's a little extra right there.
Sheldon all over Clark, and oh, they get into it a bit here. Caitlin Clark hits the deck.
It is getting spicy in Indiana.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected.
Marina Mabry kind of blindsided Clark there. Oh, boy. Sheldon and Cunningham are getting into it. These two teams do not like each other. That's what this is.
Right, the WNBA just hit a new low, and this time the referees got caught. Red-handed making calls so bad that even blind people are questioning their vision. Stephanie White finally had enough and called out the entire officiating system. While shocking footage shows just how badly Caitlin Clark is getting screwed over by refs who seem allergic to fairness.
Why was JC Sheldon's foul upgraded to flagrant one? In the judgment of the officials, the foul by Sheldon was unnecessary. The contact to Clark's face. Furthermore, there was a wind-up and impact, and the contact to face carries potential for injury. How did you come to the conclusion that that is a flagrant one? How did you come up to the conclusion that it was unnecessary? There was a wind-up, and it was to the face. The three of them that is a flagrant 2. By definition, you've described a flagrant 2.
Before we break down this absolute circus of officiating, I need to know, do you think WNBA referees are intentionally targeting Caitlin Clark, or are they just really, really bad at their jobs? Drop your thoughts, because what I'm about to show you will make your blood boil. So here we are, folks, witnessing what might be the most embarrassing officiating scandal in WNBA history, and trust me, that's saying something for a league that's already specialized in questionable decisions. The referees have officially lost all credibility, and Stephanie White just served them the reality check they desperately needed.
Sheldon, right? Clark trying to back down Sheldon. Sheldon fouls Clark. Clark a little upset because she feels like she got poked in the eye. But then watch Marina Mabry here. She sees what's happening. She comes in. Excuse me. Tempers flaring maybe just a little bit on both sides here. These were competitors last night, y'all. Let's take one more look at this here, Udonis.
That's one way to stop her. That's a foul. I don't think it was intentional. It's a foul.
So Tina Charles, Clark,
she sold that a little bit.
Mabry, right? Tina Charles, Clark, and Mabry, they all received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant.
Let's start with the most recent disaster that has everyone talking during the Fever's game against the Connecticut Sun. We witnessed what can only be described as officiating malpractice on a level that would make even the worst NFL replacement refs look competent. The WNBA actually had to admit that referees were wrong not to eject Connecticut Sun's Marina Mabry after she shockingly pushed Caitlin Clark to the ground, and her technical was later upgraded to a flagrant 2. Think about that for a second. The league had to come out and basically say our ref screwed up so badly that we're changing the call after the fact.
Yeah, Malika, we just heard from the league. The headline is that no players will be suspended from all of the action that happened yesterday. So Sophie Cunningham will not face a suspension. Marina Mabry, who actually plays tonight, the Connecticut Sun are back on the court facing the Phoenix Mercury. She will be available, no suspensions. We do have a few changes, though. Marina Mabry's tech that she received in that third quarter skirmish, that was upgraded actually to a flagrant 2. That comes with a standard.
But here's where it gets absolutely ridiculous. While Marina Mabry got away with what was essentially assault on live television, Sophie Cunningham got tossed from the same game for a much less egregious foul. Unnecessary contact.
Unnecessary contact. Wind up and unnecessary. The two of those can be a flagrant 2. And face. You have described why was it a flagrant 2. You have just described a flagrant 2 as your answer for why it was upgraded to a flagrant 1. You have just described the flagrant 2. What went into deciding Marina Mabry should get a technical foul instead of something more severe? The contact made by Mabry did not rise to the level of an ejection. Additionally, it did not meet the criteria for flagrant penalty 2. Like, what exactly, like, did not rise to the level of an ejection. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, what? Did she have to have, for it to be a level of an ejection, did she have to,
To other, double standard is so obvious that even people who hate math can calculate the bias here. You've got one player literally shoving Clark to the ground after a dead ball, which is about as far from a basketball play as you can get. And she stays in the game meanwhile. Cunningham makes a hard foul during actual play and gets ejected immediately.
But what ended up happening was Caitlin gets poked in the eye, or gets clawed in the eye, and then JC Sheldon belly bumps her. She gets clawed in the eye, Sheldon belly bumps her, and Caitlin pushes her off. And then Marina Mabrey just shoves her into the referee onto the ground.
The footage from this game is absolutely damning, and I'm not being dramatic here. You can see JCS Sheldon catch Clark in the eye, and when Clark reacts with a light push, the kind of thing that happens in pickup games at the local YMCA, suddenly half the Sun team rushes over like they're defending their territory. Mabrey comes flying in and just trucks Clark to the ground with a shove that would make an NFL linebacker proud, and the refs are standing there like they're watching a nature documentary instead of officiating a basketball game.
Keelan, for this first, I know you and JC go way back to the Big Ten. What was going on with the chippiness there, and what explanation were you given for the tech that you got?
I'll take the official questions. There wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. You know, I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So
Stephanie White called out the WNBA for egregious officiating, saying the disrespect has been unbelievable, and honestly, that might be the understatement of the century. White has been watching this nonsense all season long, and you can tell she's reached her breaking point when a coach who's usually diplomatic starts calling out refs publicly. You know things have gone completely off the rails. Coach, do you think it's something pertaining to your team, or do you think this is a blue-eyed issue? The pattern here is so consistent. It's almost comical. In one game against the New York Liberty, the Liberty had 32 free throw attempts to just 15 for the Fever, and this disparity has been happening all season long. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but when one team consistently gets double the free throw attempts of their opponents, either that team is playing the most aggressive, contact-heavy style in league history, or something fishy is going on with the whistles. Let's talk about what happened in that Liberty game for a minute, because it perfectly encapsulates everything wrong with WNBA officiating. Clark has the ball with seconds left, and Natasha Cloud basically mugs her to knock the ball away. No whistle. Clark immediately looks to the officials with that "Are you serious right now?" expression that we've all seen way too many times this season, and the refs just shrug like they didn't see anything. It's the kind of no call that makes you wonder if these officials are getting their rules education from a cereal box. But here's the thing that really gets me fired up. It's not just about missed calls anymore. We're talking about a systematic pattern of officiating that seems designed to make Clark's life as difficult as possible. The WNBA's officiating problem goes beyond one player or one game, with coaches across the league expressing frustration about dangerous plays not being called properly. Even Becky Hammond and other coaches are calling out the refs for allowing dangerous plays that are putting players at risk the most.
Coach, do you think it's something pertaining to your team, or do you think this is
Infuriating part is how obvious this all is Sophie Cunningham basically issued a warning to WNBA referees saying she's going to protect her teammates since the refs aren't protecting the star player of the WNBA when players are publicly saying they have to take matters into their own hands because the officials won't do their jobs. That's not a basketball problem, that's a systemic failure of leadership. And let's be real about what's happening here. Clark came into this league as the biggest star women's basketball has ever seen, bringing unprecedented attention and revenue to the WNBA. How does the league respond? By allowing referees to officiate her games like she's personally offended their entire families. It's like they're trying to prove some kind of point about not giving special treatment, except they've swung so far in the opposite direction that they're now giving her special abuse. The footage from these games is absolutely wild when you slow it down and really watch what's happening. Clark gets hit in the face, grabbed, pushed, and knocked around like she's playing in some underground fight club, and the refs just stand there polishing their whistles. Meanwhile, if she so much as breathes on an opponent the wrong way, suddenly the officials remember how to use those whistles and start calling everything. After Stephanie White went on an impassioned diatribe about the officiating, saying everybody's getting better except the officials, Clark made the perfect expression to show she adamantly agreed with her coach. That moment right there tells you everything you need to know about how players really feel about this situation. When your star player is nodding along while the coach destroys the refs in a press conference, it's because she's been dealing with this garbage all season long. The systemic issues here run so deep, it's honestly shocking. WNBA referees are paid by the game and generally work NCAA games in the winter, unlike NBA referees who are salaried employees of the league. So you've got part-time officials who are adjusting between different rule books throughout the year, and somehow we're surprised when the quality is inconsistent. It's like hiring substitute teachers to perform brain surgery. The resource gap is embarrassing too. The NBA has an off-site replay center where calls are reviewed by people removed from the action, while the WNBA has its replays handled on the court by the same referees who made the initial call. So the refs who screwed up the call in the first place are the ones reviewing whether they screwed up the call. That's not a system, that's a comedy sketch. But here's what really bothers me about this whole situation. The WNBA commissioner has been completely silent throughout this entire officiating disaster. While coaches are losing their minds, players are getting assaulted on live television, and fans are demanding answers. The person who's supposed to be leading this league has gone into witness protection when your star player is being treated like a human punching bag, and you can't even issue a statement addressing the concerns. That's not leadership, that's cowardice. The double standards are so blatant, it's almost insulting to our intelligence. When Clark gets hit in the face, it's just basketball play. According to the refs, when she reacts to getting hit in the face, suddenly it's a technical foul. It's like they're operating from a completely different rule book, where Clark is held to standards that don't apply to anyone else on the court. The resource and training issues are obvious when you watch these games. These reps look like they're making decisions based on feelings rather than rules. They're inconsistent within the same game, let alone from game to game. And when you're dealing with part-time officials who are juggling different rule sets throughout the year, is it any wonder that the quality is so poor? But here's what really gets me: the complete lack of accountability. In other professional sports leagues, officials face consequences for poor performance. They get graded, they get demoted, they get suspended. In the WNBA, it seems like being terrible at your job just means you'll be back to be terrible again next game. The longer this goes on, the more damage it does to the league's credibility. Fans aren't stupid, they can see what's happening when you have Obvious bias and inconsistent. Officiating being exposed on social media with slow-motion replays and detailed breakdowns. You can't just ignore it and hope it goes away. The WNBA's officiating problem has reached a breaking point, and Stephanie White's public call-out might be exactly what this league needed to hear. These refs are destroying the integrity of the game and targeting their biggest star. Something has to change immediately, or this league will lose all credibility. What's your take on this mess? Smash that like button and subscribe for more WNBA chaos.